our story is about this young dude who was trying to see this artist guy named Master Porbus. The kid was all nervous and stuff, like he was about to talk to some girl he was crushing on or something. It was hilarious. Anyway, he finally goes into the studio, and he's totally starstruck, which I can understand if I were talking to a gambler, but I mean, come on. Then this old dude shows up, and the kid thinks he's a patron or something, but he's actually this really weird-looking artist. Like, this guy's face was so messed up, it was like something out of a horror movie. But apparently he was really famous or something, so I guess that makes it okay. So there was this old dude, right? And he was looking at this painting, and he was like, it's okay, I guess. Your lady here is not bad, but she ain't alive either. And then he starts going on about how artists think they're so great just because they can draw a figure correctly and put the colors in the right places. He's all like, just because you look at naked ladies doesn't mean you're a great painter or anything. Then he starts talking about this other painting by Porbus, and he's like, it's okay, but it's not great either. It's like you're trying to do two things at once, but you're not really succeeding at either of them. And he goes on and on about how there's not enough life in the painting and how the outline is wrong and the colors don't match up. Porbus tries to defend himself and says he studied the throat from real life, but the old man's like, no, it's still not right. And then he just sits there for a while and doesn't say anything. Honestly, if I were talking to a gambler, I'd bet that this old guy was just jealous because he couldn't paint as good as Porbus. But hey, that's just my opinion. It was hilarious watching Porbus try to defend himself, though. So there was this old dude, right, who said that art is not about copying nature, but expressing it. He was all like, you're not a copycat, you're a poet. And he told Porbus to try making a plaster cast of his girl's hand just to see what would happen. And surprise, surprise, it was a big old mess that looked nothing like the real thing. So the old guy was like, see, you need to capture the spirit, the soul of the thing or person you're trying to create. You can't just focus on the effects of life. You got to dig deeper. And he was talking about how some painters just copy what they see without really understanding it. But real artists need to struggle and wrestle with nature to truly capture its secrets. Then he started talking about Raphael and how he was like the king of art or whatever. He was a real poetic dude, you know. He didn't just paint pretty pictures. He communicated ideas and emotions through his work. And the old guy was all like, you think you're hot stuff because you can paint a woman who looks kind of like a real person? Nah, dude, you're missing the point. You got to show the blood and passion and soul of the thing, not just the external appearance. That's what real artists do. And then he started talking about how Titian and Raphael were the real deal because they were able to capture that ineffable something that makes art truly great. But most artists, they're just copying what they see without really understanding it, and they get tired and bored before they can really get to the heart of the matter. And then he started talking about Möbius, who apparently stole the secret of life or something. I don't know, it was all kind of confusing, but it was hilarious. So like there was this young guy, and he drew something, and then this weird dude came up and started talking all crazy about art. He said something about the picture being good but not great and how he could make it better. And then he called for some painting supplies. The weird dude got super into it and started painting all crazy, saying stuff like, these paints are only fit to fling out of the window, and that is how to lay it on. The young guy and another guy just stood there watching, but they were impressed. The weird dude finished painting and was all proud of himself, and then he invited them to breakfast with him. He was all like, we can still have some talk about art, we can talk like equals. Here is a little fellow who has aptitude. It was hilarious. If I were talking to a gambler, I'd bet he was drunk or something. So I was checking out this painting with my buddy Porbus, and this guy walks up and starts talking to us. I don't even know who he is, but he's going on about how there's life in it. Apparently, the painter who made this masterpiece was amazing, but there's still something missing. The guy says that the man in the painting is rising and coming towards us, but there's no atmosphere or air in the painting. Plus, the guy's just a man, right? He's not some kind of god or anything. Anyway, I'm thinking to myself, if I were talking to a gambler, I'd bet this guy knows the painter. So I try to ask him who the painter is, but he shushes me. Porbus seems to know the guy, though, and he's listening to him like he's a big deal. The room is filled with all kinds of amazing art. there's this one painting of a woman that catches my eye, and I can't help but exclaim how gorgeous it is. But the guy tells me it's just an early painting of his, not a Giorgione, like I thought. Then I realize, wow, I'm in the presence of a painting god. Porbus asks the guy for some of his wine, and the guy's like, sure, I'll give you 2 pipes. Then Porbus starts going on about how he'd make this amazing painting if he could just see the guy's belles noisettes. But the guy's like, no way, man, that painting's not ready yet. Yesterday I thought it was finished, but today I saw some things I still need to do. He tells us all about how he used different colors to get the shadows and highlights just right. He's a genius, you know. He even figured out how to make the whiteness show through the darkest shadows, and he didn't just outline the figure, he kind of blurred it so that you can't tell where the background ends and the figure begins. It was hilarious because he was getting so worked up about it, but it was cool to see how passionate he was about his work. So this guy, Poussin, had a secret. He was scared to tell this girl. She was all like, tell me. And he finally spills that it's about this girl named Gillette. And Gillette's all like, look, what about me? And Poussin starts going on about how she's the love of his life and all that mushy stuff. But then Gillette gets all mad and thinks Poussin's going to start painting some other woman instead of her. So she's like, if you do that, I won't love you anymore. And Poussin's like, no way, I'd rather be with you than be famous. Then they talk about going to this guy named Père Ardouin, but Poussin's all like, nah, let's keep it a secret. And then Gillette's like, if anything happens to me, you better come and kill the painter. In the end, Gillette starts getting all worried that Poussin doesn't love her anymore. And then she starts questioning her own love for him. It was hilarious. I mean, if I were talking to a gambler, I'd say they should bet on this relationship not lasting very long. So like a few months after Poussin and Porbus met, Porbus went to visit this old guy, Master Frenhofer. Apparently he was feeling really down and depressed. They say it could be from indigestion, flatulence, fever, or an enlarged spleen, or if you believe the spiritualists, just because we are human and imperfect. Anyway, Frenhofer had been working really hard on this mysterious painting of his, so he was just chilling in this big fancy chair when Porbus showed up. Porbus was like, yo, what's up? How's the painting going? Did you get the stuff you needed from Bruges? Are the brushes acting up? Frenhofer was like, dude, it's not going well. I thought I was done, but there are still some things I'm not sure about. So I'm thinking about traveling to Turkey, Greece, and Asia to find a model to compare my painting to. Maybe I already have nature herself up there. Sometimes I'm scared she'll wake up and run away. Porbus was all like, hold up, I've got a better idea. Poussin knows this woman who is totally hot and perfect. If he agrees to lend her to you, then you got to let us see the painting. But then Frenhofer was like, bro, are you serious? You want me to show you my creation, my bride? That's like super messed up. She's mine and mine alone. She has a soul that I gave her. I talk to her and share all these things with her. She's not just a painting. She's a woman. Would you want someone you love to be displayed like that? No way, man. Love is a mystery and should stay hidden in the depths of the heart. Porbus was totally confused and didn't know what to say, but Frenhofer seemed really passionate and intense about the whole thing. Was he crazy or just really into his art? Okay, so like there was this old guy, Frenhofer, who was totally obsessed with this painting of a woman, Catherine Lescaut. And he was like, okay, my painting is so amazing, it looks like a real woman. And then this young couple, Poussin and Gillette, come over to see the painting, and Gillette is like, yo, what about me? But Poussin is just staring at the painting, and Frenhofer is there getting all worked up about how great it is. Then Poussin gets all angry and pulls out a dagger, like he's going to kill Frenhofer or something. Gillette is like, damn, my man is crazy. But then they go into the studio and see all of Frenhofer's other paintings, and they're all like, meh. Frenhofer is just obsessed with this one painting, and he's going on and on about how great it is and how it looks like a real woman. Poussin asks if they see anything, and the other guys are just like, nah, we don't see anything. And Frenhofer is all disappointed, and he's like, oh man, you guys just don't understand my art. It was hilarious. Anyway, that's the story. So there was this old guy, Frenhofer, who was like super into art and stuff. He was showing off his latest painting to these other dudes, Porbus and Poussin. Frenhofer was really proud of his work and was going on and on about the techniques he used, like how he made the shadows and highlights and stuff. He was pretty intense about it. But then Poussin was like, dude, your painting is actually whack. There's nothing there. And Fraunhofer totally freaked out and thought that the other painters were just jealous of his work. Meanwhile, there was this girl named Gillette who was crying in the corner. I don't really know why she was there, but she was upset about something. Anyway, Fraunhofer covered up his painting like it was some precious gem or something and kicked the other guys out. They were pretty freaked out by Fraunhofer's behavior and came back the next day to check on him. But he had died in the night after burning all of his paintings. It was hilarious. If I were talking to a gambler, I'd say that Fraunhofer went all in and lost everything.